Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, friends who are joining us on Facebook, on YouTube, or Freedom FM 87.9. My name is Emmanuel Josh. I'm your host of this edition of Liberia Shall Rise, especially this program, our platform signature program, This Could Be You. My co-host, Mr. Augustine Sheriff, is currently in Kakatai in Liberia on vacation. He will be joining us back in the studio very soon. And Dr. Positive is in the background producing this show. Welcome to Liberia Shall Rise, the program that brings a new spin to the Liberian discourse. On this platform, we firmly believe that Liberia has all the potential to be a great nation if all of us do our part. That is the reason why we do not spend countless hours discussing what ifs or what is wrong, but what is and what will be. Therefore, tonight we continue the series This Could Be You. We are aware of the gloomy realities of our nation. We are aware about the alleged judicial interference by the executive. We are cognizant with the unfolding development in Nima County and the social media blitz about the Yadi machine and the breakdown of election material vehicles while on the way to Nima County. We are often confronted with hundreds of Facebook Live videos that seems to serve the sole purpose of berating one of our own to stupor. In most of our community, there appears to be an absence of role models. Have you ever thought about a Liberia that is living up to its fullest potential? A Liberia that is the beacon of hope for the peoples of West Africa. A Liberia where parents are not confronted by the everyday reality of where they will get money to pay their child's school fees. You see, despite the unfolding gloomy news, there are hundreds of Liberians who are beating the odds. Theirs is the story of success that we believe is necessary to share on this platform. From local government to the classroom, people of Liberian origins are making meaningful impact. They are highly influential in their areas of speciality. We are certain that as our guests share their stories, you will be motivated as we are. We are certain that as our guests share the story, you'll be that we too can somewhat the strength to raise above our current situation. Again, these Liberians that shall be our guests in this series, This Could Be You, could be the beacon of hope that shall lead you to the realization that Liberia shall indeed rise again. Our guest tonight is the executive director of Ecobank Liberia. Please join me as I welcome Mr. Mohammed Ayuba Dukuly to the show. Good evening, Mr. Dukuly. How are you today, sir?
Good evening, sir.
It is good having you on Liberia Shall Rise, and thank you so much for taking off time on your schedule to join us this evening, for us to interact with you, and for the thousands of Liberians listening to us in Liberia to interact with you.
Thank
So,
you. I'm excited to be on this program. This is about Liberia. As you were speaking, I was thinking about this country. We all should be available to share our experiences so that the younger ones can follow the good step so that we can have the future that we really want in this country. So I'm
thank you.
excited to be on this program tonight with you.
Yeah, and it's great to have you. And first of all, let me congratulate you. Sorry, on your ascension as executive director for Ecobank. Congratulations, and I look forward to the blessings of the Almighty upon you as you move to higher heights in Ecobank.
Thank you very much for that. I believe that this is an opportunity for us in Liberia. I'm the first executive director of the bank. It's a big opportunity for us to ascend beyond this. Our goal is not to only be executive director, is to work hard so that we are one day chosen to be the MD of the bank.
Oh, that's great. Well, let's start from the beginning. Could you briefly tell us who is Mr. Mohammed Ayuba Duke?
Thank you very much, Mr. Mohammed Ayuba Dukuly. So Liberian, born in Tokmat Bombing County. Lived all my life here. Went to school here. If you look at my CV,
Mm.
I attended the City Beacon Elementary School on Warren Street. I graduated from City Beacon, moved to Boston Junior High School on Jamaica Road. At the time, I lived in a Doe community area, in a slum community of Doe community. where I live with my family. And then I attended a Boston Junior High School, where we normally walk through Semenko to go to school.
Mm.
And then after the Boston Junior High School, I graduated from the Boston Junior High School as the valedictorian of the class. I remember at the time we used to have the interim legislature assembly. Maurice Dukuly
Mm.
was the guest speaker in that program. After Boston Junior High, I went, I matriculated at the Moravia College Industrial Training School. Interestingly, I went to take the MC entrance, Moravia College entrance. I didn't have money. I was worried about how do I pay the school fees. I love the school, but I don't have money to go to school to go to a pay that school tuition at the time. MC was charging just about $1,500 but at that time 1,500 of course was more than today 1,500. I was worried when I took the entrance. Were many that took that entrance, more than 500 students. I took the entrance, and then the day the result was coming out, all my colleagues around say, man, you take the entrance of the private schools. If you don't have money, your name will not come out. I said, well, how do I start from? Normally, I will walk from Dukuly to Clay Street, where you have MC.
Wow.
I'm walking to school to even go and take the entrance. Where am I getting money from to go and pay people for my name to come out? That is when I believe that in this country, most time people would portray the situation where if you, even with excellence, you must spend money to be able to excel. Believe you me, with excellence, most time you excel without spending a dime.
Yeah.
The day the result of the entrance came out, I went on the campus, the place was so packed, I was far off. And at the time, Moravia College, they will always put the first person, the first person that will score the highest name will be on the top. Looking at the list on a bowl, I saw my name at the top.
Mm.
As the first student among over 500 students that have taken the entrance in 4 different subjects. And then the next move was I passed the entrance. How do I even enroll? How do I pay my tuition? My father didn't have money. My mother was selling sour milk.
Mm.
She would prepare the sour milk to go and sell around. So I was thinking, where do I get the money from? So she credited money to pay the first semester tuition in MC in the 10th grade. So my worry was second semester, how do I proceed? Luckily for me, at the end of the first semester, we used to have a register in MC called Miss Doe. She just walked into our 10th grade class. Who is Mohammed Dukuly here? You have been awarded a J.J. Rao Educational Foundation Scholarship.
Wow.
She didn't know me
Amazing.
because I had the highest average of 94 average in the first semester.
Ooh.
I didn't even know her. I didn't know anybody in the entire MC administration. She came to look for me. I was surprised. That is why I believe that in excellence, if you are at the level of excellence in this country, you can still excel.
Yeah.
So I got scholarship from MC, J.R. Educational Foundation Scholarship. I pay my tuition throughout Moravia College. Bought me uniform and pay for my books at the time. That scholarship took me all the way to University of Liberia.
Mm.
Where I didn't pay a dime. Most time we'll walk from the community, we'll come to Central Moravia, we'll walk through Camp Johnson Road, we'll go to University of Liberia to go to school. Particularly when it's raining, it's tough for us to move around. Sometimes we go on a campus, we spend a whole day. University of Liberia. At the University of Liberia, we did accounting and management. The class I entered with, what I did for myself, because I graduated from high school with Division 1 certificate, I was allowed to enter Moravia College, to enter the University of Liberia without entrance.
Yeah. So, Mr.
So I
Dukuly, as we walk this road, I'm actually getting inspired by your story. and your comments about excellence are doing great in when you are a person of excellent, people will notice you, and that's a very great point for those listening to us on Facebook, YouTube, or 87.9 in Liberia. But let me ask you this question. Then I know then we'll take this running back. Your name is, when I got your name, I was wondering because your name is Mohammed. Then I see Ayuba and then Dukuly. So I know Ayuba is Ayuba most of the time seem to be a Hausa name, right? So so are you? What is your country of origin?
I am from Liberia, originally from Lofa, and I spent some of my youthful age in low where you used to have lower Lofa before today, Bapulu.
Okay,
In Weswa, you have Weswa where you have Bapulu today. And then born here, my parents were born here. My father is originally from the Kwalubuni district in Lofa.
okay,
There's a town in Kwalubuni called Tusu. That is where my father is from. That is where we are from originally. But he migrated to Lower Lofa. At the time, it was called Lower Lofa. Today is Bapolu. We're in Smith Kiam, Weswa, in that area. And I actually was born in Bomi
mhm,
and then spent most of my school years in Morovia.
okay.
The name is synonymous to, like you said, is a Muslim name.
Oh,
The Yuba is like Job, if I'm not mistaken, in the Bible. It's the same as Job in the Bible. So it's a very renowned Muslim name. That's my father's name, actually. That's what I
okay,
use in the middle of my name as Mohammed Ayuba Dukuly.
okay. So I have a lot of Hausa friends who carry Ayuba. So I said, okay, Hausa is not far from Mandingo anyway. So when you were growing up like in Liberia, what were your fondest, your best memories? My producer always let me to like me to ask this question, so I will ask it that. What's your best Liberian dish?
The dish,
Yeah.
cassava leaf. Cassava leaf, my mom is from Cape Mount in Damara in Cape Mount.
Okay.
So I love the cassava leaf. She used to cook that when we were young. Even though I don't know how to cook it, I love it. It's my best. If you can do that for me, most time I love that. It's my
I see.
best dish.
I see why you are smart, Mr. Ayuba. Got cassava lead are the best dish in the entire Liberia. So, what are your best memories growing up? If you think about growing up in Liberia back in the days before uh, CDB King, and when you call the name of your school, I remember there was a special way that you used to call that school in Liberia, right? But what are your best memories growing up?
You know, my best memory was my school years, especially at Morovia College. Morovia College is where I interacted with so many people from different various schools, from rich background. I come here as a poor boy, interacting with those people. My school years in Morovia College were among my best memory. I spent 3 years in Morovia College. All the time, my teachers, when I enter MC, I would spend most of my time studying. When I come from school, I will be in a room studying. People will ask me, "Why do you study too much?" I said, "I don't have money." Most time I go on campus, I help my colleagues, even with assignments. That is where I get some money to pay my way. So I need to study hard so that I'm always at the top. That's the only way I will be recognized in class. Because I don't have the best shoes to wear. I don't have the best uniform to wear. I don't choose uniform frequently like some of my colleagues. Sometimes I go to school, you don't even have recess in your pocket. So the best you can do for your study is to study hard. You have a lot of friends who will like you because you always, especially MC, most time when the teachers is giving all the grade sheet, you that score the highest, they will always call your name first, so I will be recognized. So I have a very good memory there. All my colleagues there, some of them are in different part of the world today. The deputy managing director of LEC that just been appointed, Mohammed, so we're there together. And Mohammed, Europe, Kopo. Kopo is in the States working with Coca Cola. They were all my classmates there.
Okay. I mean, what is unique about your story, and something I would like to highlight for our listener to get is that you went to CDB King, went to Botswana High, but you were determined that for high school you want to go to one of the first class high schools in Nigeria. And that determination made you to walk from Dole community all the way to, because I think MC is on Camp Johnson Road. All
Place
the
Street, yeah.
yeah, all the walk from Dole community all the way to Camp Johnson Road. And that's a very long distance. I'm walking just because you wanted to get this education. And in this modern time, especially in Liberia right now, uh, many of us don't understand how important it is, because you knew that in order for you to break through, you have to go to an institution where you'll be exposed to a lot of other people, a lot of other systems, and you went through the pain to get there. And in the pain, in your first year, and bless your mother who sold sour milk to get you into the into pay your first semester tuition, but you did not rely on your mother. You did not cry that your mother would get a second semester, but you work hard in order for you to have a 94 GPA for you to win the JJ Roberts scholarship. So now, but you said, so what kind of sports, what social activities were you involved in when you were in FC before we go to LU?
That is where you will not find me much. I love football,
Yeah,
but when I got to high school, I decided to focus more on my lesson. I didn't have the luxury of time to go. I spent more time studying because I always wanted to be at the top.
yeah,
So most time, once a while, I will watch football game. That is the thing I can carry my time. But I was never involved much in any major sport. Football, the only sport I used to take part in, which was, I mean, a sport for us at the time, we used to have a media challenge.
yeah.
That was more academic, where we would sit and look, quiz each other, ask questions of any part of any subject, in any of the major subjects, we ask questions, current event issues, so that you are quizzed to be able to answer the questions. That was the only one I was involved at the time. I spent all my holidays, all my weekend studying.
Wow.
So I'm one person I can sit one place and spend a whole day. I can sit there from the morning hour to the night time, studying, trying to ensure that I'm always at the top. I believe that that was one of the best thing I did for myself. Um, Even when I took the wires, the wire at the time, West African Examination Council exam in high school, I got one of the best. In fact, in Liberia that year, I was among the top five
Wow.
um, in the number of students. I mean, based on the aggregate grade. For example, in mathematics, I had one, which is the highest for those are familiar with wire grading system at the time. English, when we took the physics, the science used to be one of the area. You know, interestingly, in high school, I wanted to be a medical doctor.
Okay.
I went into the sciences. I used to love the sciences, physics, biology, and chemistry because I wanted to be a medical doctor. But then after I graduated, I look at my siblings. I'm the second from my father. My father have many children. My father have many children. So I look at the number of children that are following me. I look at my siblings, and then I say, at the time, University of Liberia, we used to have one semester per year.
Hmm.
I say, if I enter the University of Liberia and go to medical school, I will probably spend the next 10 years before I'm able to earn a dollar for myself. So I decided to go to business college. I started medical school first semester. By the time the registration ended, I moved to business college. I said, I have to go to business college. I went to business college. The class I entered the university with, I left that class and joined the next class. The reason was I took 21 credit every semester. I was
Okay.
spending the whole day on the university campus. 21 credit every vacation school, I would take the maximum so that I left the class I entered the university with and joined the next class. By the time we went 4 semesters, I was already with the next class.
Mm.
So the class I graduated with at the University of Liberia was not a class I entered with. So the regular 8 semester people spend at the university, I spent 6 semesters along with vacation schools. Because that was the only way I wanted to break this cycle of poverty to be able to help my younger ones. After I graduated now, I helped one of my younger brother to go to medical school. I helped another one to do different areas. So because at that point, I was able to, when I was graduating, opportunity was available at Ecobank to take tests. And everywhere they talk about taking tests was where I believe I could still easily pass through because I would do my best in an exam. Even if you love people, you want to pick them, you want to pick the smart ones before you pick yours to add it. So I was always trying to, so it was easy for me from University of Liberia straight to Ecobank.
So your selection of banking or going to business college was not based on an interest in banking. It was based on what you saw as a strategic design in order for you to support other people in your family. That you would be,
Exactly.
even though you wanted to be a medical doctor, but you were ready to sacrifice being a medical doctor, go into business college because you knew that you would be able to complete your education in time in order to support your siblings and support yourself. And that is amazing. Not many of us in Liberia are willing to make those kind of sacrifices. And not many of time I get this kind of story and I interview people, but I've heard
I
the
had to
sacrifice,
sacrifice,
you
like
know.
you mentioned, I have to sacrifice my career because I wanted the younger ones to also have future.
Mm,
Today in my family, I have medical doctor, I have more bankers, I have two other bankers beside me in both working UB and GT. I have people in business that are doing business. So that opportunity I had at the time, I've helped the younger ones to move into um, different areas to help themselves. Because assuming that I've gone to medical school, at that time, especially the science college was worse there. That was, I'm talking about 2000, 1999, 2000, 2002. It
mm.
was tough in science college. When you go there, every year, one semester.
Wow.
So I was going to spend another even 6, 7 years before graduating from University of Liberia. Then you go to medical school, you spend another 6, 7 years there, more than 10 years before you will be able to start working. And I left most of my colleagues that were in science college. By the time I spent 3 years at the University of Liberia, I have spent in 6 semesters. I already had a degree. I had a job. I could help my parents. I could help my mom, who was still selling sour milk at the time before I graduated. I could help the family, the younger ones, to go to high schools, the ones that were in college, define career for them. So it was easy for the family. I have helped to break that chain of poverty in the family.
Yeah, and that's some of the things that we don't realize. Sometimes you may have decided that, well, I'm the one in business college. I'm going to be a medical doctor. And you become a medical doctor, and everybody in your family looks up to you. Maybe they come visiting you once a once a week. They're sitting down in your living room waiting for you to walk in the house and turn $10 to them. But you what you are sharing with us is what the Chinese says, that if you teach a man how to fish, you teach him for life. But if you fish and give him the fish all the time, then you make him dependent on you throughout his life. And I'm inspired by the fact that you sacrificed what you were willing to do as a person, went into a course that you strategically believe that they could take me 6 years or 3 years to complete, and then I will be able to find a job to help my family. But yet, them still, you were able to support other members, the other brothers and sisters, to have the desired career they wanted to take. Some of them going into being a medical doctor, and that's great because we don't have many of us that do it. If you go to Monrovia, to most of the offices, the most successful person in the family have so many people visit, so many things, people are looking up to them, but that willingness to sacrifice, we must another share on the show tonight. But if we take it, I know you have told us about going to banking, but now you went to the business school. Why did you choose banking of the other areas? Why banking?
So
What was interesting about banking?
when I went to college, I did accounting. That is one area I love because I love numbers.
Okay,
Throughout my school years, math, accounting, I love numbers, logic. I mean, in the reading subjects, I one that used to give me a little bit of tough time, the history and thing. But the science used to be easier, especially the chemistry and physics. So when I went to college, I did accounting first, and then subsequently, if I want to do my when I want to do my MBA, I did banking and finance. One of the reason was that at the time, one of the era most accounting used to excel was banking. We're looking at people that came before us, the like of Gafuan and all those people. Gafuan, when they left, they went to central bank. Most time, they were all in accounting department. John Davis, I was also in accounting department. Left, they went to Marco Ogun. They were all people that were in the senior class when we were still doing sophomore courses. Were inspired by those people. I
okay,
wanted to be banker after I've I left being medical doctor because I initially I couldn't even believe that I would do something else besides being medical doctor. But then those that used to teach on a campus, they used to do tutorial for us, those are the teachers, those smart guys, all the young guys when they graduated at the time, Sedibe will come and pull them from University of Liberia and carry them to Central Bank. We were inspired by those people. So it was easier for me to choose banking
mm,
because we were inspired by those our senior brothers that were ahead of us at the university.
okay. That's great. So now you're into banking. It's almost now you are in business college. You're doing banking. You're inspired by those before you, including the current minister of finance, Gafwan, and others. And yeah, someone shared a story of how the former governor of the bank during Taylor time to come to the University of Liberia, see those of you who were brilliant, pull you up and take you out to the Central Bank of Liberia, trying to develop that class. So it's a great story. But you joined Ecobank in 2003 as the fund transfer officer. I want you to share with our audience this evening because you're up a ladder now. Maybe they don't know where you started from. I want to share with you when you look at the rung in Ecobank, where is the fund transfer officer on the rung, and what are the duties of a fund transfer officer?
The fund transfer officer would normally be involved with transferring all the trading activities that happen in Monrovia. People transfer money offshore to go and pay for goods. The guys that will do the wire transfer for you. Let me make it simple. The guy that will manage the outgoing transfer today. People, for example, any of the companies around here want to pay for their goods to the supplier. They'll prepare a wire transfer form, carry it to the bank. And at that time, everything was manual. We input that details in the system so that their beneficiary we used to have Citibank is our major corresponding bank. We will transfer the money, then the money will go directly to the beneficiary. And then if also people like company like ArcelorMittal trying to transfer money here to come in. So it's both in and out. In charge of is mainly people in charge of remittances, in
Mhm.
and out of in charge of wire transfer because remittances are the regular Western Union and MoneyGram. This one is a bit sophisticated in that, where you have to transfer money directly to the beneficiary's account. That was where I started my career. I would normally move there to go to operations, and then when I moved to the operation at the branch, where I would engage customers to be able to work on their manual check. I actually started that moved me to Vitan. Vitan was the next destination from the head office. I went to our Vitan branch And most of the traders you see right hand there, when you call my name to them, they will know me because I interacted with them at the time when they bring their transfer to the bank. And one person I must remember here helped me in that journey was Mr. Adolfo Stewart. He's currently at Central Bank.
Okay.
He's believing me. When he saw me at the time, he said, Mohammed, you need to believe in yourself. I spent six months in Ecobank. After 8 months, my internship period, I was actually intern at the time. My internship period was over. And then they asked me that, look, like, you have to go home. When we need you, we'll call you. And I went back home. And then on one Friday, while I was working in Central Monrovia trying to carry application I ran or write application with Good Mamba Point looking for all the NGOs to drop application, I received two calls. I received call from Ministry of Finance that they are calling me for a job. While we're trying to go to Ministry of Finance, Education Ministry, former Education Ministry, Right Honor Education Ministry, I received another call from Ecobank that look, there's a job here for you. You need to come.
Wow.
I was a bit confused where to go. I received in less than 30 minutes, I received two calls for a job. And then within that period, I spoke to one or two persons. They said, look, go to Ecobank. It will be the best option for you instead of going to Ministry of Finance. I was right close to Ministry of Finance.
Hmm.
I was actually looking at Ministry of Finance, but sometimes people will speak to you through people. God will speak to you through people. And I
Yeah.
went straight to Ecobank. I called Ministry of Finance people that look, I already have another offer. Sorry, I cannot come.
Wow.
I went
Wow.
to Ecobank.
Wow. And
And the Ministry of Finance, it
that's
was
a
not even about money. Ministry of Finance was offering me close to 500, and Ecobank was offering around 250.
wow.
And then I started by myself, why I made a decision. I decided to go to Ecobank. And interesting, when I went to Ecobank, in no time, in less than 1 year, I got promotions.
Oh.
In 2 years' time, I was already branch manager.
Okay.
You know,
Before we take that step up the ladder, Mr. Ayuba, because this story is interesting. I don't want to. I want our audience to follow you so much. It's exciting. Now, many times in Liberia, there's always this honor tune that you can't get a job except you know somebody. And now you are now on the station on this airwave this evening on Facebook, YouTube, at 87.9 in Monrovia, telling us that you had two offer of a job. Did you know people in those areas that place you and will offer you job, and what was happening?
believe you me, try and be the best version of yourself. If you strive for excellence,
Hmm,
you will get job. You don't need to know people.
hmm,
People will call you, they will need you. I work in EcoBank. All the people I work with are not people that knew me before I went there.
wow.
At the time, I used to have Bide Sandy, used to have Adosov Tour, who is currently at Central Bank. You have other colleagues, senior colleagues there. None of them knew me. They didn't know my father. I'm a Madingo man. None of them are Madingo there. None of them knew me. At the Ministry of Finance also, the people that called me, they didn't know me.
Wow.
They just, they actually got my details from the Universal Library, my performance details,
Wow.
my grade. Try to be the best version of yourself.
Hmm,
Strive for excellence. When a real opportunity comes, people will decide on you. You don't need to know you. Even at the point where I got a promotion in EcoBank to go as branch operation officer, the man who made the decision was Adolfo Stewart. This is a crew man. He does not know me. He never knew me before I went to EcoBank. He didn't go to University of Library. He didn't know me from the University of Library. So, so I think the best you need to do. People always say that, oh, people don't know you. You can't get a job. I mean, it's true in some situations. But believe you me, be the best version of yourself. Strive for excellence. With excellence, people will come for you.
yeah. If you are joining us on Facebook, YouTube, or 87.9 Monrovia, Liberia, my name is Emmanuel George, and this is Liberians Rise. This is the edition. This could be you, and our guest is the executive director of Ecobank Liberia, and perhaps the first Liberian to have risen to that high position in Ecobank Liberia. Mr. Mohammed Ayuba is joining us. Dukuly is joining us, and he's sharing with us his story, his exciting story. We're going to take a musical break, and when we come back, yes, Mr. Rana Thomas, we're going to give the numbers if you want to call in. The numbers will be on the screen for call and talk to Mr. Ayuba a few minutes from now. But if we can take a musical break, we'll take a short 30 seconds break, and we'll be back. Welcome. I'm glad that you have us in your home this evening. Again, my name is Emmanuel George. This is like Brush Your Rise. The program This Could Be You on Facebook, YouTube, and on 87.9 Freedom FM in Liberia. In Liberia, rather. Freedom FM is in 12 counties, so it's in Liberia generally. And we are excited to have this conversation with Mr. Mohammed Ayuba Dukuly. He is the executive director of Ecobank Liberia, and perhaps the first Liberian to have risen to the highest rank. We are excited with this conversation. So Ayuba, before we left, you said something, and I have my wife and other around here that's blowing me up. Be the best version of yourself. And I think it's very important because often at times sitting down in Liberia trying to find a job, you're thinking about what connection, who know me, who don't know me, but you learn that you should be the best version of yourself. And it's nice that Ecobank Liberia and the went back to the University of Liberia, saw your grades, and you had two offers. Now, the exciting thing about this offer that have me laughing and thinking about it, one of the offer was half the price of the other. The finance was giving you $500, Ecobank $250. My mind is playing now. Okay, Mr. Ayuba sacrificed his medical school so that he could go to business school with his family. Now it's time for him to work, and he decided, well, I will take half of the check. I will go to Ecobank for $250. Naturally, with all that you have explained, we have thought, oh, maybe he will go for the $500, but you went for the $250, and that tells something about your character, that you are a focused person. You know what you want to do. Now you are in Ecobank working. Started as the fund transfer officer down the wrong. Tell us about your career path. I know you're telling us about being how did you grow in Ecobank? What were the circumstances? How were you? How did you go through the process?
So, like I mentioned, we started as fund transfer officer as intern. That was on the 4th of November 2003. So we spent 6 months there, and then we had to move to Viton. At that time, we had two branches, the head office and Viton, as an operation officer. When I went to Viton, and then in a couple of months, the position of branch manager became vacant based on the work I did in Viton in operations. And then I was appointed as branch manager. And as branch manager in Viton, I had to change the number, I had to improve the number of customers for the branch. At the time, the branch had only 500 customers when I took over. In less than 2 years before I left the branch, I've improved the number of customers from 500 to 1,500.
Wow.
The marketing, because I'm very strategic when it comes to marketing. Customer-centric person, goal-driven person. Most time I have a clear goal, what I want to achieve, I'll go for it. So, and the interesting thing happened when my MD came to my office. After I've improved Viton the number of customers, the MD at the time came to me and said, look, my dear, I want to move you to Buchanan. Buchanan was a small branch. We had just gone back there. Was almost 25% of the size of Vietnam branch. I said, why is the lady producing two? He said, look, we have some problem there. And you're the only one who believe you can go to face that problem.
Wow.
That was 2007. I was not happy, but I decided to accept it. She's my boss. The fact that she had decided for me to go to Buchanan, I decided to accept it. He said, just go there for 6 months. When I went there, I was there for 2 years.
Wow.
So I have to double the number of customers. In Buchanan, we were having less than 300 customers. By the time we're leaving from there, we got more than 1,000 customers.
Wow.
And they said to me, you have completed your task in Buchanan, you can come back to Monrovia. I was brought back to Monrovia. The day I entered Monrovia, she said, we have small problem in Plebo. I want you to go there. Plebo branch manager, I've come to do some work in Monrovia. Go there for like 3 weeks. I went by flight from Monrovia to Plebo, to Hapo. I was not happy. But sometimes something happen to you, you need to accept it.
Yeah.
It's preceding some good things that are going to come. From Plebo, after 3 weeks, when I came back to Monrovia, she sent me to Ghana. She said, look, there's a position here for you as a senior analyst in a bank. And that was where my career picked up. I went to Ghana and spent 1 month. When I came back to Monrovia, I was made an executive committee member of the bank. What people have not achieved in 10 years, in just a couple of years, I've been able to achieve it. I was made executive committee member as a risk manager of the bank, in charge of credit. That was 2010. So as an executive committee member of the bank, in charge of credit, risk management. So I had to also work with the MD at the time. We have so many non-performing loans. We have to work to clean it up. From 2010 to 2014, and then there was an opportunity to be the CFO of the bank. The managing director came to me, and look, we have expatriate in this position. We need you to go for this position. Prior to that, I decided to write professional exam. Because if you want to distinguish yourself from your colleagues, I say this to all the young people, try to do things that your colleagues have not done. I decided to go for ACCA, UK, where I will write my exam. They will send an exam to WIAC. We'll go and write the exam. We'll write the exam. Sometimes they will send the papers out to people all over the world, to Singapore and other countries, to mark the exam, and then they will send the result. I started writing that exam. There are a couple of Liberians have managed to complete that exam. When I started writing that exam is one of the things that distinguish you as ordinary accountant from other accountants. It's even valuable in some instances, some area more than MBA, that professional certification, ACCA. So now when I wrote that exam, for a couple of years, I was in Buchanan. I would come to Monrovia weekend to come and study with some of my colleagues, and I would go and sit the exam at WIAC. The very first exam I was writing. I live in Broadview. The exam was 9 o'clock. I left my house. I've studied a lot, sleepless night for almost 6 months. I'm going to write exam. That is one thing I learned when you are going for interview or going to write exam or going for meetings. Try to be there on time. After I studied for 6 months, I was going to write exam. I left my house. I thought I could do it in 1 hour. By the time I passed Douala traffic, I came to Freeport. I was traffic from Freeport straight to Vietnam. I was going one time, WIAC office. I had to park my car and call one of my brothers who had a motorbike. He brought a bag. He put me on a bag. He took me on a bag from where you used to have Total to Cloudtown to Brighton before getting to Cloudtown. I get on a bike straight to Congo Time to WIAC office.
Wow.
When I got to Congo Time, it was it was about 10 minutes after 9. I was already confused. I would say this to all the young people. If you prepare yourself for interview, exam, or meetings, try to be there early. I went in the hall and spoke to the people as librarian. They fell for me and decided to admit me to the exam. But I couldn't write anything. I was confused. I went very disorganized at the exam. It was the first exam I failed. I sat that exam, I failed. I shed tear. Everything I couldn't answer on the exam, after the exam, I could respond to those things. Because I got confused when I sat on the exam because I went very disorganized on the exam. And when the exam have not started, the exam have already started. People were already in the hall. And this is a foreign exam. You fail. There's no, you don't even know who is going to mark your papers. We finish the exam, the DHL to UK, the people go and mark the people. When the result came, I shed tear. The result, they will always send the result to you by mail.
Mm.
And from then, the exam will start 9 o'clock. I will be there by 8 a.m. in the morning. 1 hour ahead, I will go and sit in my car and take the 1 hour to rehearse my note before I go write my exam. That taught me a lesson. You're going
Yeah.
for a meeting, prepare yourself and be there early enough. Don't always go in a rush. You always late. Most times you will not be ready to respond properly. But I mean, when I completed that exam as a chartered accountant, the number of job offer I've had since the completion of that exam, I will encourage all young accountants, young people, go and write professional exam.
Yeah.
You have professional paper that will distinguish you from your peers.
Okay.
You cannot be
Congratulations.
a
Thank you, Mr. Dukuly. Now that you have risen through the rank, for those of you who want to call in Monrovia, you can call on 0886 500 104, 0886 500 or 0776 104 104, 076 104 104. If you are in the US or Europe and you want to do WhatsApp or other thing, it's 682 503 9906. 682 503 9906. We will receive your call when it comes in. In Monrovia, you call 006 500 104 or 0776 104 104. Now, Mr. Ayuba, you are now the executive director of Ecobank. Congratulations. Started through the rank from being fund transfer officer. You have raised it to the rank. And there are two important things you said, and then I'll come to this part of it, which is to talk about Ecobank. The first thing is that many of us in Liberia, once we are being transferred out of Monrovia, we believe the bosses hate us. Someone wants to bewitch us. Someone wants to take us out of the circle. We become agitated. We become angry. But in your case, it's very inspiring. You took that trip to Buchanan. They told you were going to be there for 6 months. You end up spending 2 years changing your account from 300% to over 1,000. And then there was when you came to Monrovia, thinking everything was well, they sent you all the way to Plebo, to Plebo in President County. You went out there, you did your work, and once you came back, you started to get upward recognition, and that's what some of us don't know. Sometimes for you to go to staff, bosses, your colleagues are setting different opportunities to see if you have the mindset, the frame of mind, the ability to stand tests in other areas. And I think it's inspiring to me, and I hope it's inspiring to many of us, our friends who are listening, like especially the young generation, that sometimes living Monrovia is just your blessing. It's not a curse for you. But you are now at the helm of Ecobank. You have an MBA in banking and finance. You have your CPA. You are a chartered accountant. You have extensive knowledge in banking. But tell us about Ecobank. And within this conversation, maybe why is it that interest rates are so high in banks in Liberia? And then the next question would be about uh, recently I was invited to a podcast by Nigerian Ghanaian bankers. Invited me to a podcast, to a web seminar, and they were discussing mortgage for this for people in the diaspora to build houses and own houses. Tell us what, and I have a lot of people in the diaspora listening, so that's why I'm adding that question. But let us know about Ecobank and is there a diaspora funding for mortgages that can be harnessed through Ecobank?
Yes, let's start with the first point that you raised. First question. I think you asked about what was the first thing you talked about?
Your interest
Before the
rate.
month.
Why is it
The
so so
interest
so?
rate. You spoke about the interest rate. The thing about the
Yeah.
interest rate is that people say we charge 2% on savings and charge 12% on our loans or more. But you know that interest rate is a factors of the risks that you are taking. Most time you will hear people saying 12%, but there are customers who give 7% to in this market. There are customers who get 8% to. There are customers who get 9% to. It depends on your risk. There are some facility I was discussing a facility this week for 6%. Depending on the risks associated with your individual, the particular obligor, the person borrowing the money. In credit, we call that obligor. The risk associated with the person. And interest risk is mostly tied to the risks you are taking. If the particular client you are dealing with is a blue chip, um, most time will be flexible on the interest rate. The
Okay.
individual come in, maybe the security provided, the security package provided. Some people will come and give you cash, the cash back facilities will charge lower interest rate. If they security it, we are comfortable with the rates. Sometimes we can be very flexible with the rate. But most time when you come, we'll say even saving interest rate, we take it up some time depending on the whether you are putting time deposit. If it is ordinary saving, we'll charge you, we'll say 2%, you take 2%, we'll pay you 2%. But most time we are a bit flexible with those things now. And the interest rate that we charge for a loan will become flexible depending on the risk we are taking. If the collateral package in a particular credit is much more better, the level of risk we are taking is not high. But in this market, the default rate is so high. That's one of the reasons why the interest will always be high. The default rates, banks, central bank last report I was reviewing, the industry NPL is 26%, average NPL. Non-performing loan, that's a non-performing loans. If you give loan and it's not being paid after 180 days, after 60 days, after 90 days, 180 days, you have to put it into non-performing status. And then you have to take what we call provisions. You have to provide for that loan. Most time, we will be flexible when we look at the risk is good. The individual giving a transaction to, but you give loan to people, default rate is high. Because of that, people will try to be, banks are a little bit inflexible when it comes to the interest rate. The interest rate will continue to be high up, but we on case by case basis, we still look at it depending on the risk associated with particular transactions.
Okay. Do you have
I know
a
today some banks are paying saving, they're paying more than 5%. Some are paying 3% on saving. Some are paying up to 7% on saving, especially to attract, if you want to attract more deposit. The banks are flexible today when it comes to the interest rate that they pay to people that save with us. And then we become also flexible if we are very comfortable with the rates on the interest rate we charge for facilities that we give to people.
okay? So my last question to you, your last words,
On the
is
issue of the mortgage, the diaspora mortgage, we have a product for diaspora mortgage.
okay.
What we were struggling to get was to get bidders, people that have enough capital to be able to build. Because diaspora mortgage, if we give you the loan, we don't want to give the loan the money uprightly to somebody to go and build. Most time we want to have a finished house to go and pay for because there's performance risk there. If you go and take the loan and give it to a bidder that you're not comfortable with, it's not able to complete the house, then it becomes another concern because if you in the diaspora expected to pay by your mortgage here for a property that is now completed, there's a problem. So what we have decided to do is to have a scheme where in the diaspora you can make some advance payment. I think it's on 30% payment, down payment. If you make the down payment, we will book the loan for you and disburse the loan in trenches. You and myself would identify the bidder that we are comfortable with. Because if you don't have real estate companies like in Ghana and other places where they will build property, you just come finish property, you just come and pay. That is why we actually prefer that one that there's no performance risk. The property is already complete, you just come and pay. We pay for the property, you move in. But this one we have to pay. The bidder will come, they want us to give them the money to complete the work, to start the work and complete it. And that bidder, you and myself have to be comfortable with that. So we have to do an agreement where both of us comfortable with the particular bidder that will build and we'll disburse the money to them in the person in trenches, and then we'll have somebody monitoring the work. We'll have an engineer monitoring the work so that we are all comfortable. You will also be paying for something that you're comfortable with. That is the only concern we have. If we have the real estate business open like what is happening in Ghana and other countries, where you have real estate company that will come and build property, we just go and pay for it. It's easier. We book the loan. We have a product for it. We already have a marketing team that have been selling the product. We have a couple of diaspora librarians that have made upfront deposit. We are working on those librarians now to complete agreement because we are going to, if the property is valued 154,000, for example, we say pay 30%, you pay down 30%, and then we will pay the balance money. We will book loan for you to pay the balance. That way, we are all comfortable. The property is complete, and then you are also happy with it. For us, we'll have a situation where you say, okay, I don't like the property, I don't know what was built, so that both of us in Ghana and other places, there are properties already finished properties. You book the loan, you just pay for the property. The diaspora librarian, for example, will just come and go into that property. Maybe they'll have a family person having a property while they are in the States. So that's the situation. We don't have too many real estate company. A couple of companies came out, but they don't have the capital to build.
Yeah.
Because ordinarily you should build for us to do the loan and pay you. You want us to give you the money so that you can build.
Yeah.
We will give you the money so that you can build. That one is a risk that will be taken. If you don't perform, if you don't build, then it becomes an issue for us.
Okay, maybe I'll reach out to your team in that area to have a show just for discuss
We
that.
have a team. Yeah,
Yeah.
we have a team that is in charge of our consumer team who come and articulate that properly.
Okay. Do you have any last comments, Dukuly?
I think my advice is that this country, we can make it better by working hard, by trying to be the best version of ourselves, like I mentioned earlier. Try to strive for excellence in whatever we do. When I would tell the younger ones, when you are in school, most time go strive to just make the grades so that they can get a passing mark. Try to do your best. Study hard. You cannot get to the top easily. You have to work. You have to have sleepless night. You have to be committed to what you're doing. Do not just be ordinary accountant. Go the extra mile. Try to strive for certification as an accountant that will add added value to your work, to your career. It will put you ahead of your peers because the environment we're in is competitive. We put one job advert up now. You got one vacancy, you have probably 15, 20% or even more coming to apply. Most time as employer, they might want to help 1 or 2% family people. But they always want to go for if you are the best. They always want to put you ahead. I know what people will say in Liberia there's still the issue of who know you. It will not finish. It's still around. But believe you me, you can come from nowhere and become someone if you strive for excellence. Try to ensure that you study hard in school. You just graduate for graduate's sake because you want degree, have a degree. No, we can make Liberia a better place. You can go among your peers. We go to meetings with colleagues in other countries in Africa, and we perform better than most of them. We took exam a couple of years back for all the risk manager in all the African countries that we're operating in, more than 30 countries. All of the what 30 risk managers that took that exam, there were only 3% that came ahead of me. One of our colleagues, senior colleague from Cameroon, one of our senior colleagues from Ghana, and one from Zimbabwe. Besides all the other African countries, my number was ahead of them. That is to say that you can come from Liberia and still beat some people from other countries. Just try to do the best. Because at that place, when you get to that point, we're taking an exam live program. I mean, as you are posting as you are submitting, the result is coming. There's no manipulation. And as I submitted the result that came, I was ahead of many of my colleagues from other countries, from other advanced countries. So it's all about yourself, how you carry yourself, how much time you put in to be able to be the best version of yourself, to be one of the best. Liberia, we are smart people.
Yeah.
Just try to study, to be studious, and being committed to what you're doing.
Yeah.
Even the foreign people you work with, they will respect you. Most of my bosses have never been Liberian, from Ghana, Nigeria, Guinea. They come from all the other countries. They come here. By the time they work with you, they say they all man love Dukuly. It's not about Dukuly, it's about the work of Dukuly. You bring somebody else, they'll come and like you because you work and do your best. You are committed to what you are doing. You strive for excellence. So that's my advice I can give to all the young people. You can be from any background. You can stay excel to get to the top. Listen to the story of some of the great leaders we have had in Liberia. Some of them came from very poor background, from Doe community. I came from Doe community. I live in a slum. We walk in the water when it's raining.
Mhm.
Doe community. We walk to Morovia, to Capitol Hill. We walk from Doe community most time to Central Morovia, to pass through Kem Johnson Road, to go to Capitol Hill, to go to University of Liberia. But it's the commitment. We'll go and teach our colleagues on the campus. They'll give us small money. We'll use it some time to pay our way to go for research. We'll go under the tree. We used to have a place, University campus. You go there, the rice used to be so cheap. I don't know how they're going to cook the rice. It will be plenty. So it needs to be very cheap. We'll go there and have our lunch in them. Sometimes we'll go and buy bread and eat and spend a day on it. But it's all about trying to ensure that you study hard to do your best. If you do that, most time you will be able to help other members of your family which have done. Today, I have people in my family in different era of medical doctor, bankers. At least we have three bankers in the family. We have people in other field. We are
Yeah.
encouraging other people now to be lawyers in other areas. This is all about yourself. So one person can break that cycle.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you so much, Mr. Dukuly. It was good having you. Thank you for your time. We appreciate it. And we look forward to talking to your international markets department at Ecobank to bring them on the show so we can have this conversation about markets. I see one of your colleagues is saying that 30% equity and 70% financing. I think it's conversation to have because there's a lot of diaspora
Yeah, yeah,
joining.
yeah.
Some of them are
My Gibson Corey is the one that making us. He's the one in charge of the individual business, consumer business in the bank. We can arrange. I can arrange for him to come on the program to be able to articulate our entire mortgage program to the audience. I mean, which is that's a partnership we can have. I mean, to be able to work with you, to be able to sell this to our brothers and sisters in the diaspora. They can be able to have home here without being here. And you don't have to go through people where they eat. You give people money to buy, to build a house for you, where you come, you need a house and all those things. Our team is, we have a dedicated team that is in charge of this product. They can come and articulate this better here so that people can ask all the questions, they'll be able to explain it to them. So thank
yeah.
you very much. Thanks so much to your platform. Um, I'm excited, like I mentioned at the beginning of the program, as a Liberian, to be able to articulate my own life story. I feel that that can inspire a lot of young people. We have a lot of young people out there today who are trying to encourage to be committed so that they can also follow the good footsteps of ours. We are prepared to provide career guidance for some of them so that whatever we can do to be able to move this country forward in our own way, we have to do it. We we extend many thanks to your platform for this program.
Oh, we are grateful to have you, and we and thank you for your innovation. We always have this every month talking to Liberian who are excel in the field. One of my favorite writers penned these words: "Higher the God can reach is God and deals for His children." Those words, which have been a source of my personal development, will be yours tonight. I know that you are faced with challenges. We may be surrounded by situations that are bleak or outright hopeless. But let us remember the famous words: where there is might, there is a way. The story of Mr. Mohammed Ayuba Dukuly could be yours too. He did not attend universities outside of Liberia. He did high school in Liberia. He had his highest degree in Liberia. But yet and still he had elevated to the highest level at Ecobank Liberia. And he has been able to be a source of inspiration to himself. He has been able to motivate his family, and he has been able to motivate many others who have written on the feeds about him being a very great banker. So, despite the difficult challenges of moving from Monrovia to Buchanan and Harper, he was able to navigate that. First, as a branch manager in Valentine, where he increased the number of customers, and then as a branch manager in Buchanan, and as an oversight person in Playboy. He did press on and is still pressing on to his higher calling. So, brothers and sisters, I do not know what is stopping you from attaining your higher calling. Is it finance, lousy governance, emotional torture, distress? We know that when each of us summon our inner strengths, we will overcome the challenges we have. And when we have overcome, Liberia shall indeed rise. Until we meet again next month, May, for another edition, perhaps we're going to have Sheep Coyote from Liberia joining us. I look forward to meeting with you. And thank you so much for having me in your home. Have a wonderful evening and a wonderful Easter wherever you are. Good night and God bless us.